My name is Rainer Floor. I am the co-founder and head of product at PhotoDay.
My name is Wayne Thompson, and I am the Senior Product Manager here at PhotoDay.
I'm Justin Ordilis, and I'm a Senior Product Designer here at PhotoDay.
I'm Victoria Tinsley, and I'm the Senior Product Designer here at PhotoDay.
Product team's main objective is to make sure that we can help our photographer by being their best friend in just about every aspect. We want to make your life easier from the time that you take an image to the time that you're kind of sitting back and you're analyzing your metrics throughout the entire life cycle of what a studio does on a day-to-day basis. We are your partner, we are your guide, we are your friend to be able to help you with achieving that goal.
It's our job to articulate product's vision with the overall vision of the company. That includes our leadership team. I think they've got a pretty good grasp of the things that our customers are looking for. And really it's to take those things, whether new products, new features, improvements to the product, and turn that into a unique experience for our customers. When I think about our role, it's everybody that's here, our product owner, our product designers, our senior product manager. I think we all have a certain vision on what we think the overall product should be for our photographers or our studios. And really it's to take that and turn it into an experience that can continue to help them thrive as a business, but also give them their time back so they can use that time however they want. And I think that's always been the indirect positive, I guess you could say, for PhotoDay, is that we've built software that makes the entire picture day experience much more efficient and much more profitable for a photographer. And so the things that we do for product will continue to do that. And when we look at how we go about doing that in terms of the process, it's all for making the workflow much better for a photographer.
When you're talking about like what a studio wants to do, while it definitely relates indirectly to what they do, which is being a photographer and being able to take images to try to create lifestyle for their families, and in some cases a legacy lifestyle, because some of our photographers are generational. The business was passed down to them from their parents, and they plan to pass it down to their children. So when you talk about like what's PhotoDay's goal, we want to be able to help them create the life that they want. And how do we do that? We do that by helping them make more money and save time. Time is something that you just cannot get back, and to be able to give you a way to make as much money as possible is something that we take very seriously.
I used to film weddings, and I guess that's a form of photography, obviously. I think there's an approach to understanding the pain points of a photographer or a videographer. It can be a long day, and you go through the paces of all the prep work, then the actual shoot, and then everything that's after that. So your day isn't quite done yet when you're done taking photos. There's everything after that. I think that's part of the grand vision. We do understand the workflow. I think there's a lot of people that work at PhotoDay that understands the perspective of a photographer. And I think that's an advantage that we have, is we can utilize a lot of that intel, that information, to build an experience that alleviates a lot of the pain points. And the future of PhotoDay is very bright in terms of where our product is going. It will take care of the end-to-end pain point as a photographer, from pre-picture day to being on the site to being off-site and handling all the work outside of taking photos. And so with that perspective, we're able to build something from the very beginning that can open it up to really being the complete solution for a photographer.
I love doing what I do because I really love seeing how an idea can evolve into a design that improves people's lives. That's really one of the favorite parts of my job. And then also technology is always evolving, and I love being part of that change, especially in the case of PhotoDay, going from paper order forms to a more digital world that we are pushing out here. I think that's really neat, and I love doing what I do.
I just like anything creative. I like the opportunity to express myself in different mediums, and I think being at PhotoDay presents a great opportunity to not only express myself as a designer, but to kind of solve different kind of puzzles and problems. Having that fulfillment of seeing people take in our work and really get use out of that and change their lives, that's probably the biggest thing that I take from why I do what I do, is because ultimately I think we all want to be able to find something fulfilling in our day-to-day lives, and this provides it for me.
I love working on challenges. This industry has a lot of challenges, and that is the beauty about PhotoDay is it solves a lot of challenges. I think we've solved a few, but there are a ton more challenges to solve. And I think we have, to be honest, the perfect blend of people here at PhotoDay, whether it's, coming from a user experience perspective in somehow creating what was once and still is a very historically traditional market into something that becomes a little bit more modernized and autonomous. And so those are some of the things as a product team that we look at every day is, how do we make this a little bit more efficient? How do we use technology? How do we use what we've learned throughout our careers and put that into a product that we can be proud of? And really, it's all about connecting people. And so when we think about connection, it's internally and externally. I think for photographers, PhotoDay has become a platform that allows them to connect with other platforms. But if you think about the community that PhotoDay has built because of our platform, it's phenomenal. Like, photographers are very open to talking with other photographers to help make them better. Like, if they've got an issue, we've got a platform that allows them to be able to be free and open and talk about these problems to help each other out. I think that's another indirect thing that PhotoDay has done as a product for photographers. It's not just the tangible piece of software that they use, it's what the software is able to allow them to do to communicate.
For me, I can break this up into three main categories. Why I do what I do in product, right? For PhotoDay specifically, it's the people, it's the problem, and it's the process. The people that we impact and the people that I get to work with are a huge driving factor. There are so many, like Rainer said, there's so many challenges that kind of come up, and to have such a collaborative group of people to work with who are committed to figuring it out and want to make the decision every single day, like, hey, this is frustrating as heck because we thought we got to the finish line yesterday, and now we got to start all over from the beginning. The ones who are jumping right back in. That is like the number one foundation behind why I do what I do here at PhotoDay. The other side of the people are the people that we help. Getting to know some of our studios and talking to them one-on-one, hearing their stories about how they expired a group gallery and paid for an entire Disney trip, as expensive as that is, or hearing from the people on how Download All is going to revolutionize their business. It really, really means a lot to me. The second part is the problem. There are challenges here to solve. There's challenges in this industry to solve, and we can readily identify them. There's something about challenges that kind of get me in the morning. I want to figure stuff out. So whatever it is, I don't want to hear like, oh, well, I'm just going to have to leave it at that. I want to be able to figure some sort of workaround or some sort of software solution, like Victoria kind of alluded to earlier. Being able to use technology to be able to solve these problems is really, really exciting. And then the process, you can't get tired of the process. After we deliver a feature and everyone is super happy or super mad, depending on where you fall on that side of the spectrum, we get to do it all over again. And because there's so much opportunity out there, and all of that kind of translates to what's at the foundation, which is the people. We're helping change people's lives. I've been here just over a year, and I've heard that phrase, hey, PhotoDay has changed my life, so many times I can't even count. Having people who are working with you kind of in the trenches, solving consistent problems, and having people who are energized by doing this over and over and over again. That's why I do what I do.
I like anything that involves that, like whether it's designing, making music or dancing or anything like that. Just things that require a different perspective and a different approach kind of every time you step up to something new. It's not always the same thing, and it just gives you nice variety in life.
I think this kind of goes back into just why I'm here today. It's just an opportunity to be creative. We can do things in a very traditional way, but that's not good enough for me. I don't think it's good enough for PhotoDay. We're not here to be just another solution for a photographer. We are wholeheartedly interested in making their lives better, in changing their lives. And I think if we were able to, and we have created a piece of software that can be a tool for them, but also indirectly create the time for them to do other things. And I'll reiterate, this this quote that we hear time and time again. It's like you've changed our lives. And sometimes I think about that and I'm like, I don't know if and it's gonna feel kind of weird me saying it. It's like I don't know if I can believe that, but the reality is that when you hear it over and over and over again, and you just don't hear it or see it in a Facebook user group, but you go to a conference and you have a photographer come up to you and say, "Thank you. You guys have given me the opportunity to go on vacation or spend some time with my kid and wife, loved one." It's such I can't tell you what kind of feeling that gives me as a person that, is in product. I think that's just kind of like, we say we do things to increase the quality of life. Well, it's not just the quality of life that they have within the product, it's the quality of life that they have outside of it. And I think that's such a big thing that I will say I don't think when starting PhotoDay that we had any realization of, but being in it, 7 years later, it's a comforting feeling that we are doing something to help our users and not just help them have a great experience using our platform, but help them just do whatever they want to do outside of PhotoDay. And very fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to do that.
Of course, it's a very rewarding feeling. Like if I can make someone's day a little smoother through design, then I feel like I've done my job right. Because the ultimate end result is creating something that people don't just use, but enjoy and remember. And a lot of the feedback kind of plays into that it's a recurring sentence, but if it improves their lives or make their lives better, it's a very fulfilling part of my job.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiment from Victoria. Like we're all in this because we enjoy helping people and doing it through creative means. And when you see or when you hear these comments like, change my life, when you see a feature that you spent countless hours on meetings, like discussing and kind of working through the different problems and it's received, oh my gosh, this is amazing. There's no greater feeling, right? Maybe there is a greater feeling, but it's one of the top 5, right? I'm a words of affirmation guy, so you telling me I did a great job is like amazing. You telling me our team did a great job is amazing. To be able to do that while we have solved a problem, it's not just kind of like I'm trying to encourage you, here's this type of feedback, but it's like, no, you don't understand. This means a lot, not to my business. This means a lot to me. This means a lot to my family. So all of those things are like super critical. I really, really, really thrive off of that.
I also think it's a confirmation, hearing the positive feedback that we're on the right path. And product is challenging. I think you can look at the way to solve products different ways. And certainly there are different methods in building something and offering it as a solution. As we go through the process of understanding our photographers, understanding their problems, and then understanding what we can do to, bridge that gap in a way that we feel like is our way of doing it, is such a fulfilling feeling.
It's always good having positive feedback, and it gives us a nice indication that we're doing things right in our day-to-day work here. So always a great feeling.
A feature started with an idea, aka a problem. There is something that we are trying to solve for, whether that be, again, kind of the overarching terms here, make money, save time. How can we figure out how we do those things? And a lot of times those ideas will come. Like we have a lot of people within the product team, the Greater PhotoDay team, who have a ton of experience in not just the photography industry, but the volume photography industry. So they'll share some of their thoughts. And a lot of PhotoDay folks have active studios and photography-based businesses that they're running. So they'll tell us challenges that they've run into. But the vast majority of the problems and the ideas come from our studios, our photographers, the community, as we talk about, like expressing, this is what I'm facing, this is the challenges that I'm going through. And we kind of start with that idea when we're trying to come up with whatever that solution is going to be. It doesn't just start with like, okay, well, one person tells us something, hey, add a button here because this doesn't make any sense. Well, we're going to go in and validate that. We're going to talk to 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 20 studios to find out, is this something similar that you're facing? Then we'll kind of take all that feedback and try to synthesize it as best as we can to make sure that we know what problem we're solving and we know what problem we're not solving. Because sometimes just because a person tells you, hey, I'm having an issue, getting from point A to point B, my horse is too slow. More horses isn't necessarily the solution, right? Your solution could be, hey, I'm gonna give you this thing called a car you never heard about that's gonna put the power of all of those horses in one particular convenient vehicle that allows you to get to point A, point B in a safer and a better manner. So we're going to take the problem and we're going to hear and listen and validate the problem. And then we're going to come together and throw out a few solutions, work through those solutions. Once we have a good idea of what those solutions could and should be, we're going to validate it again. Make sure, hey, look, you like this? You think this will be good? If not, great, it's back to the drawing board because we've overcomplicated things, or the solution that we have is too robust or too comprehensive. We got too creative in that particular case. But once we find out and we validated the problem, then we kind of go into the development cycle and a feature is born.
For the design team, I think one of the things that we've done very well as of late is being able to look at a solution and whiteboard that solution to really get a better understanding of what we're dealing with before we actually design and then ultimately hand it off to our developers. And it's such a wonderful thing. And we have working sessions, we have a design session that incorporates our internal design team, but it also incorporates our creative marketing team to give us kind of an outside perspective on what we're trying to design and build. These working sessions really kind of uncover a lot. And sometimes it tells us, well, you have a good idea, but there are other things that we need to account for. And ultimately that alters what the end solution is and what we're going to build. And it allows us to communicate these things to Wayne so he can communicate that to our engineering and support staff and sales staff, whether it's, hey, we need to look at this, or we need more time to take care of these things. I think the process that we've built internally is setting up ourselves for efficiency, number one, but the launch of what would be a successful product.
A lot of the process is understanding the problem we're trying to solve and then the end goal. So we have like a starting point and an end point, and design fills everything in between. And so sometimes that initial problem statement needs to be broken down into further problem statements, and how we approach design and the user experience on those. Like, are we trying to solve for the broader goal, or is actually that broad problem statement a very smaller one that we can go ahead, design for, and release and make our studios and their customers happy? Or is the feature scope a little bit bigger, and that broad problem statement is actually like the main thing we have to solve for? It may take a little bit more time, but there's a lot more like user research, and design may take a little bit longer of a process to really put out something that not only PhotoDay as a company is happy with, but the studios are really excited to use.
Like Victoria kind of alluded to, there was a big problem. We broke it up into smaller problems, and now we're going to release that smaller problem solution that's out there. Well, was it right? Did we get that right? This whole thing is, I don't want to call it a guessing game. It's more of deductive reasoning, if you will, by trying to find out the best possible solution. And sometimes, we're not right. But before we go ahead and release that to every single photographer and every single studio, we have our customer success inbox and our Facebook group blowing up saying, hey, this wasn't the right thing. We like to do things in betas so that we can validate this idea and this works within your workflow and you find this beneficial, or you found most of it beneficial, but it didn't have this other thing that we need to do before other people start to use it. So there's definitely a strategy when we're releasing as to when we're releasing, and then there's definitely a strategy as to how we release things, because we want it to have the most impact possible. And in order to do that, we have to be strategic in the releases.
We definitely get a lot of feedback from our studios. I look at it this way: we must be doing something right if we've got studios that say, hey, we like this, but we also think it could do this. I think internally we've got a good process that kind of siphons that feedback from an inquiry standpoint, whether it's on our user group or it comes in via our support channel. We've taken this and we've put it into this platform that allows us to assign the feedback to different parts of PhotoDay. And not to give too much exposure over it, but I think it's important for people to know that if we could work on everything at one time, we would love to do it. But the fact of the matter is we can't because of resources, we can't because it wouldn't allow us to give the time and attention to whatever we're working on. And so we have to prioritize and understand what are some of the things that really our photographers are really wanting, whether it may be an improvement, a feature, or there's an issue. And those are things that we immediately work on. And then there's also a business side to it as well, because we have to understand, well, what is good for our photographers and what is good for PhotoDay, right? What is good for PhotoDay's partners? So not just PhotoDay, our labs, our studios, and obviously us. Yes, so like as far as what we work on, it's really based on our partners, what's good for everybody, whether it's our labs, our photographers, and for PhotoDay. And really that is the equation and solution to what we eventually get to work on.
If we didn't have studio feedback, we're going to release a solution that no one's happy with. And we never want to do that. PhotoDay does not exist without our users, right? So we want to make sure that we understand what the user is actually asking for, and make sure that this is not just a solution that we think is a solution, that the perception behind what our solution is there as well. As Rainer said, we try to build everything. We would love to build everything, but we're limited by either time, resources, or scope. And we've got to figure out what the best balance is between those, and how to accept user feedback to provide something in a timely fashion. You could ask us for something. It takes us 3 years to get it. Are you going to be happy? No. If it doesn't have all the features that you want, are you going to be happy? No. If we're working on that thing, but we're not working on the other thing, are you going to be happy? So it is a balancing act that we have to go through, but user feedback is at the core.
There is a secret sauce, I think, to PhotoDay's success. The secret sauce is this: we are 7 years in, and I think if we were able to just say, hey, we could just work on this, and we have 100% confidence that these are the things that we work on that will drive, value to our photographers, then we would obviously just go do that. However, that's no longer the case. We can't just work on things anymore. We have to rely on data points, and feedback is one of them. However, the data is good, but I also believe in order for us to create these unique solutions, we have to rely on intuition. And so I think there's a marriage between data and intuition that truly becomes the product that we build. And so we'll be in a design session, and Victoria and Justin, we'll have our conversations, and it may be conventional, it may be not conventional, but we have to weigh those things out, and we have to understand, well, okay, maybe these aren't certainly the things that photographers are used to doing, but you know what? We think it's going to work. But we think it's going to work because there's data there, because we know that this is a problem. We just feel like this is the best way to solve that problem. I think we've done that many times, and the things that we're doing now and into the future are certainly indicative of our process and our philosophy in using data and also using our intuition to solve a problem.